With the forest temple completed, evil's chokehold on the Kokiri forest has been broken. And it looks exactly like it did 7 years ago when we were a child. With all the Kokiri out of their houses. Obviously there's the draw distance thing there. It seems to be... Is he shadow boxing? What's he doing? Teach me some fancy fencing. All I've ever done is tap B all my life. I don't know if I've ever noticed that he does that before. Here you go. Alright. There you go. That's fancy fencing. What did the other Kokiri say? I still think you really look like somebody I've seen before, mister. Well, you wouldn't believe why that is. I just love that the Kokiri forest is turned back to normal. I mentioned it last episode, but it stresses me out and makes me feel terrible seeing it all infested with those monsters before the forest temple's completed. Now that the Deku Tree's sprout is growing in the Great Deku Tree's meadow, the forest has returned to normal. What do you say? And then, yeah, I will head to the Know-It-All Brothers' house up here. Because, like I mentioned, there is actually some more interesting dialogue to do with the Forest Temple there. Link, I wonder if he will come back. So yeah, let's go and have a look. So, before the Forest Temple, if you remember, we had that one weird line of dialogue saying, an evil wind is blowing from the Forest Temple. And now that it's completed, we have, since a fair wind started to blow, I'm sure Link will come back. So, that's two wind-related comments about the Forest Temple, which... You know, I'm sure that must be some sort of leftover from development when we know it was actually going to be a wind temple. I'm sure Link will return someday. Somehow a fair wind has begun to blow recently. So yeah, more wind comments. And I think it's just so, I mean, it's equal parts cute, but also quite heartbreaking how all the Kokiri are just waiting for us to return. You're also fencing. You're such a big, strong guy. I really want to be like you someday, even though I'll always be small. You are just fencing. Yeah, it is quite heartbreaking to see all these people who were Link's childhood friends, all just waiting for him to return, that they don't understand where he's gone. So you still seem to be cutting grass. I still don't know if this is like an animation they're trapped in. I feel like I've known you for a long time, mister. Or if that's always what he looks like. Anyone in here? No, no one in there. Yeah, I just want to talk to everyone I can. Because especially now the dialogue's changed, it is quite interesting. Anyone in here? Oh, yeah, you got this girl. I wonder if Saria will come back. Well, you know, Link has, although maybe not in the way you expect, but I don't think Saria's coming back. I'm sorry. You can buy arrows at a shop only if you have a bow. Have you got one, mister? And I think the people in the shop will just say things related to the shop. No, I'm sure Link will return someday. And if I talk to you, any dialogue? No, same again. But we're good on stuff. Yeah, so Link obviously has returned, but as an adult, which they don't understand. But Saria will never return. So I posted a theory on my channel a long time ago on the topic of whether the Ocarina of Time sages die. Because that's kind of a long-standing theory, that, you know, they do seem to at least leave their kind of mortal lives behind them. So Saria will never return to the Kokiri Forest. She has this kind of new duty as a sage. Whereas different sages in other games, for example in Tears of the Kingdom, when you have Raru's sages that are awakened, or I suppose the new sages awakened in the future timeline, in the current day, I suppose, they do just seem to live their normal lives as well as be a sage. It's kind of like a part-time sage thing. But in Ocarina of Time, it's much deeper than that. It seems that if you become a sage, that's your normal life gone. You know, you stay in the Chamber of Sages and watch over whatever it is. Let's not do that. Similar to the Wind Waker, where the sages Medley and Makar kind of have to keep praying to the Master Sword. It is this kind of like much bigger thing. So I don't think the sages die, but it might as well be death. I don't know, because they kind of leave everything behind. But we've returned to Kakariko Village because before we head to Death Mountain, which, yeah, isn't looking too good. I was about to say it isn't looking too hot, but it is looking too hot, and that's the problem. But before we head up there, although actually I suppose we will be doing that this episode, we're going to be doing the Biggoron sword side quest. So this is something that we could have done as soon as we're an adult. There's only 2 conditions that you need to complete this quest. One is having blue fire, which you can get, of course, in the ice cavern, but also in the Kakariko Village shop, which I think we'll do this episode. And the other condition is having Epona, just because there's some timed segments of this that you need her for. So I figure before we do any more dungeons, let's get the greatest sword in the game, the Biggoron sword, which deals twice the damage of the Master Sword. But this is interesting not only because of the reward, because it is like, it's the coolest reward in the game. It's, you know, a huge, awesome claymore style blade. But it's interesting not just because of that, but also because of the story that you play through in this side quest. It's quite easy to miss when you're focused on the timed events and running around and focusing on the reward. But there is actually a kind of a tragic story that you play through when doing Biggoron Swords side quest. So, it begins over here with the cuckoo girl. We obviously helped gather her missing cuckoos in the child era, because for some reason she got into this profession despite being allergic. So let's talk to her and see what she says. I bred a new type of miniature cuckoo. I call it the pocket cuckoo. I don't get goosebumps from this baby. Cuckoos are very good at getting lazy, late risers out of bed. Haven't you heard of them before? It makes them very happy to crow cuckoo, especially when it wakes up a very heavy sleeper. However, my cuckoo is not entirely happy right now. You look like you're good at handling cuckoos. Here, take this egg. After the cuckoo hatches, bring it back to me after a while, and I'll check out its mood. What do you think? Will you try? And we get the pocket egg. A pocket cuckoo will hatch from it overnight. Be sure to give it back when you're done with it. Brilliant. If I had a nickel for every time a girl's given us an egg in this game, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's strange that it's happened twice. So, yeah, we have a pocket egg here. Or, yeah, pocket egg? And I think the first one was weird egg. Yeah, interesting. And, if you remember when we visited one of these houses in Kakariko Village, there was a sleeper in here. There was Talon. So we're going to head in just so I've reset my spawn point. Because, of course, pocket eggs only hatch at sunrise. So I'm going to whip out my ocarina. And we're going to play the sun's song twice, I suppose, to set it to morning. Just to get this egg to hatch. And yeah, the reason I went into the house was there, so I don't have to trek across the huge Kakariko Village. That'd take, you know, about 10 seconds. But at sunrise, a chicken hatched from the egg we were incubating. It's the miracle of life. Exactly the same dialogue as when we hatched it as Child Link. But now we've got this, the pocket cuckoo. Apparently a hypoallergenic version of cuckoos. We can take it to Talon, who otherwise will not wake. ZZZ. Malon doing alright. Mumble mumble. Sorry to make you worry. If we whip this out. What in tarnation? Can't a person get a little shut-eye around here? Did you save Malon? Thanks. I'm going back to the ranch then. Yeehaw! I really thought he ran away. Maybe that was only in the child era then. Okay, do you change dialogue? He's always just lazing around. No, that's the same thing. Okay, but I assume if we leave and re-enter, he'll have gone. Will he? Talon is gone. Okay, so he slipped past us. Yeah, so we've made this cuckoo happy by hatching it, of course, and also allowing it to do what it does best, and waking a lazy sleeper. So let's head back to the cuckoo lady. Please make my cuckoo happy. Okay. Oh, right, I need to show it to her. Oh, your cuckoo looks pretty happy. He must have awakened an extremely lazy guy. You're a good cuckoo keeper. I'll give you a rare, valuable cuckoo if you're interested. Its name is Kojiro, and it used to be my brother's cuckoo. Its blue body is quite charming. It's so cute. Since my brother has gone, it's strange, but Kojiro has stopped crowing. Do you want to keep Kojiro? Yes. You returned the pocket cuckoo and got Kojiro in return. Unlike other cuckoos, Kojiro rarely crows. And yeah, Kojiro is a named cuckoo who is blue for whatever reason. My brother must have been very lonely. So that's a line of dialogue there to remember when we kind of progress through this quest. So Kojiro, the blue cuckoo, belongs to her brother. We don't yet know who that is. And she thinks he must have been very lonely and mentions that he's gone. So that's all we know currently about the location of that. But there are, like I say, there's a ton of characters in Kakariko Village that are all connected to this side quest. So before we go and find the brother, I just wanted to head over to the potion shop, just to talk to Granny quickly before we do that. So obviously we can head, there's a couple of ways to get there, now, especially now I've got the hook shot. But we can just head through the back of this potion shop. Sorry, not the potion shop. I wanted to go to Granny's house, which you can get to through the back of the potion shop. So up these stairs and round here. So we visited this earlier on as Adult Link, but we need to remember that she says the Lost Woods, where fairies live, is a strange place with mysterious smells, and she wishes she could make medicine with materials from the Lost Woods, but that she's, I assume, too old to visit the Lost Woods anymore. So that's something we need to keep in mind. Again, you know, this. I'm not going to race through this quest at all, except for obviously the parts of the quest we have to race through. But the other reason I'm in the potion shop is I want to buy, not pose, I want to buy here, blue fire for 300 rupees, which yeah, breaks the bank, but no, nothing else. But of course, in Ocarina of Time, rupees are pretty easy to get. There's very rarely times when you really need to grind for them, I find. But speaking of rupees and wealth, I forgot, let's go visit the Skulltula family now that we have 52 rupees. So every Skulltula house member, every member of this family have turned back to normal, except the main Skulltula, who says, "Thank you for saving my kids." What? Me? Oh, that's okay. You've already destroyed 52 Spiders of the Curse so far, so that's fine. Don't worry about me. Okay, so he'll only turn back when we complete the entire quest for 100 gold Skulltulas, but as he says, all of his kids have returned to normal. And I can't remember which one we haven't spoken to yet. Okay, here you go. The curse has been broken, thank you, here's a reward for you. And we get our 24th heart piece and new heart container, so well worth doing. And yeah, that's all the rewards from the House of Skulltula, except for the final reward, which we'll see basically at the very end of the game. We'll come back much later on for that. But with Kojiro in hand, let's head over to the Lost Woods, where we can meet the next person involved in this side quest. So I know I said I'm going to do an episode where I cover all of the lore of all of the Gossip Stones, and I think I still will do this at some point later on in the playthrough, but I'm not going to limit myself from talking about the lore of the Gossip Stones if they're relevant to the things I'm doing at the time. So for this quest, I wanted to bring up that the cuckoo girl, or cuckoo lady I suppose, in Kakariko Village, who has bred various different types of cuckoos. She bred the miniature cuckoo, perhaps she bred Kojiro as well, despite being allergic to it. There's a gossip stone that mentions that the cuckoo lady visits the lake scientist, who we've met once or twice before, that very creepy man who lives by Lake Hylia, for instructions, okay, stop doing this, for guidance and training on how to breed various animals, which is a cool little connection between characters. The lake scientist is involved in this quest, that you wouldn't know otherwise if you didn't bother to read the Gossip Stone. So they are quite interesting. The problem is, I would show it off now, but I can never for the life of me remember which Gossip Stone reveals which bit of information. So I know, for example, there is a Gossip Stone right here by the Lost Woods, which I could... Oh, okay, I've got the Mask of Truth. That's only a Child Link thing. Yeah, I'll do a separate episode, but yeah, I can never remember which Gossip Stone says what. But, anyway, if you heard that, as soon as we head into the Lost Woods, Kojiro crowed. I'm going to see if it does it again. I was talking over it. There you go. And apparently, since the cuckoo lady's brother left, Kojiro stopped crowing. And if we head through here, to the area where the Skull Kid once was, we find this character. So, as Child Link, of course, this man sat underneath the tree in Kakariko Village only at night and complained that everybody is disgusting, and even his own mother and father are disgusting in his eyes. So, he wasn't happy 7 years ago, and now, in the adult timeline, he's gone away from Kakariko Village. He's left his home and entered the Lost Woods. Let's talk to him. Navi says, no response. He's sleeping. And the only thing that can wake him is if we show Kojiro. Kojiro, why? Normally only a nice guy like me can tame you. He says as he's twitching. Which means, you must be a nice guy. Must be. You must be. Please, Mr. Nice Guy, please. Deliver this stuff to the old hag in the potion shop in Kakariko Village. This will disappear if you take too long, so you gotta hurry. Okay. And he gives us an odd mushroom. A fresh mushroom like this is sure to spoil quickly. Take it to the Kakariko potion shop, quickly. And a timer appears on the screen, giving us 3 minutes to rush back. So on the right from that room, the bridge area of the Lost Woods, we could have planted a magic bean, which gives us a little shortcut out, but still, I find the timer is pretty generous. I do think you do need Epona to make this work, but I think, if you've got Epona, it's not too difficult to make this in time. But yeah, I feel like we need to unless Epona takes forever to turn around. Yeah, so that's a lot to take in, what we just witnessed in the Lost Woods. We found the Cuckoo Lady's brother, but he wasn't responding to anything. Navi says no response, he's sleeping. And when he does wake, when Kojiro, his friend, wakes him, he's twitching. And he realizes that because Kojiro's crowed, Link must be a nice guy. And that revelation is enough for him to ask Link to bring a odd mushroom to the lady in the potion shop in Kakariko Village. Which is a very strange event, but that's going to make sense quite soon when it dawns on us what has actually happened in the Lost Woods, why he's left Kakariko Village, what's happening with the odd mushroom. And like I said at the start, it is a really, really dark side quest when you think about it. It's kind of a very strange sequence of events. Okay, right, well, medicine shop's closed till morning. We've got time. I should have gone into a different building to not reset my entrance to Kakariko, but like I said, there's no rush. I also could have used the hook shot to get over the buildings to get to that area, but we've got a minute and a half, so it really isn't that difficult to make it. I think there are more difficult time sequences. There's one you have to go all the way to the top of Death Mountain. That one's a little bit tighter, but this first one is pretty lenient. But yeah, let's head through the potion shop and out to the old lady that the man asked us to visit, because we get a very strange line of dialogue here. Okay. Sniff, sniff, sniff. What a mysterious smell. You must have something. That bum. He had to go into the forest. I see. Hey, give it to me now. If you see that fool, give this to him. It is the strongest medicine I have ever produced. However, this potion will not work on a monster. And we get the odd potion. You don't know what's going on between this lady and that guy, but take it to the Lost Woods. They say there is no medicine that can cure a fool. I guess that's true. So that last line of dialogue, there's no medicine that can cure a fool, is a Japanese idiom. yeah, well, it's pretty much verbatim. There's no medicine that can cure a fool or an idiot, which is pretty self-explanatory. But she immediately understands, based on what we've given her, that odd mushroom from the forest, she immediately understands what's happened. So, as we showed off, she previously wanted to make medicine using the ingredients from the Lost Woods. And now, as soon as we bring her an ingredient from the Lost Woods, she understands who has got them for her. And gives a very ominous line about that this is the strongest medicine she has ever produced, but it will not work on a monster. So, let's head back to the Lost Woods. We don't have to race there because there's no time limit on this. And let's try and give this this medicine to the guy who's slumped below that tree in the Lost Woods. Yeah, I figured getting the Biggoron sword at this point would make sense. As I said earlier, you can get it pretty much whenever you're an adult, as soon as you've got a Pona. But I quite like using it compared to the Master Sword. I did want to do the Forest Temple straight away. I took an episode to kind of explore the world as adult Link, but I did want to get the Forest Temple done pretty quickly, because I do feel it's such a great way to become acclimatized with adult Link and get used to the world. And it's my favourite Zelda dungeon. I can't wait to do that. So yeah, I had to get that done. But I'll do the rest with the Biggoron sword. But heading back into the Lost Woods, we find the man has gone. And there's only a Kokiri girl, Fado, in his place. That guy isn't here anymore. Anybody who comes into the forest will be lost. Everybody will become a Stalfos. Everybody Stalfos. So he's not here anymore. If we show the mushroom to her, the potion, sorry, that guy isn't here anymore. Okay, we get the same dialogue. Oh yeah, so he's not here anymore. Only his saw is left. Hee hee. That medicine is made of forest mushrooms. Give it back. You returned the odd potion and got the poacher's saw. The young punk guy must have left this behind. Heh. Are you going to be too? Heh. So that's very ominous. The man who was here is no longer here, and a Kokiri, one of the childlike spirits of the forest, reveals, for the first time in this game, that people who get lost in the forest, get lost in the Lost Woods, become Stalfos, those skeleton enemies that we fought in the Forest Temple. So we've found out what's happened to him, and suddenly the line of dialogue from the old lady in the potion shop makes sense. That was her strongest medicine, but it will not work on a monster. The boy has become a Stalfos. He's become lost and changed by the Lost Woods, and he's there no more. It's also interesting that the Kokiri girl, Fado, says that she almost snaps at Link and says, that medicine is made with forest mushrooms. Give it back. And we're forced to return what we took from the forest at the instruction of the boy who was inside. Which is very interesting, considering this item is called the Poacher's Saw. So, in a second, we're going to find the character to whom the saw belongs, ostensibly the poacher. Because this is something that confused me for a long time. Poacher's saw. And if you look at it, it's a weird saw. It's a kind of stick with two blades on either side. It doesn't look like the saws that, I know, which, I think of a blade on a handle sort of thing, not this kind of double-edged thing. But that is actually a real type of saw. It's I think it's Ryoba. Forgive me if I've butchered that. I think it's Ryoba, which is a Japanese carpentry saw. So it is a real type of saw that's used for carpentry, but it's not called a poacher's saw. And in fact, if you Google for poacher's saw, or even the Japanese, which is still called poacher's saw, if you Googled for that, it's still just, it comes up with Ocarina of Time and nothing else. Poacher's saw is only a thing in this game, which means that this isn't a type of saw. The poacher's saw isn't a type of saw. Poacher is referring to the owner of the saw. So, in that light, we've got two possibilities for this, who this poacher is. The first one is the boy whose saw it was, and the second is the, who we're going to trade the saw to now. And both of them actually make sense in different ways. So first, let's go to this one. But actually, I haven't visited Gerudo Valley as an adult yet, so I'm going to just get off Epona quickly. Because the bridge is gone. For some reason, yeah, in the 7-year time jump, the bridge is gone. And over there on the other side, we can see the master craftsman, who used to live in Kakariko Village, but is now found here in Gerudo Valley. So there's two ways to cross this. As far as I know, there's two ways. I don't think there's any more. The first is the hook shot, which is pretty cool, but a little bit boring. The second is Epona, which is just awesome. I should have waited for the music to kick in just as I did that, but oh well. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. But yeah, let's talk to this man here. I am a master craftsman. Those Gerudo thieves, they broke the bridge. I want to fix it, but all of my workers are gone. They said working as carpenters isn't cool, and they went to the Gerudo fortress to become thieves. Hey, you! If you're going to the fortress, would you mind finding out what my workers are doing over there? Well, if we show the saw... Hey, that saw! It's mine! But I thought I left that saw with my old lady. Oh well. My Biggoron tool broke, so I was going to Goron City to get it repaired. Your coming here is great timing. Will you give me my saw? Good kid, thanks. I'm sorry I can't give you something as good in return, but take this anyway. And we get the broken Goron sword, and we need to apparently visit Biggoron to get it repaired. So the poacher's saw belongs to the master craftsman, which makes sense. Oh, he doesn't have any other dialogue. While he's doing that, I'm just going to go here. No, actually, I'm going to use the temp. I'm just going to reset the my entry point because I want to turn it to night because there's a sculpture we can grab around here. Yeah, so it obviously makes sense that is his saw, considering it's a Japanese carpentry saw. But now we have another possibility for the identity of the poacher. I forgot, yeah, this is an area where it won't reset where I am, because it's an area where night and day travel. Night and day move. There's one... there it is. I knew there was one around here. Yeah, so it makes sense that the saw is his. So could he be the poacher, is the question. And I think he's probably the strongest possibility for the poacher. And I'll point out why in 1 second. Let's just grab this token. So this is going to sound strange at first, but I promise you this will make sense. His trousers. You see that? They're very strange, and they seem to be made out of tiger skin or tiger's pelt. You see the stripy yellow and black and the white on the back. Which sounds like a very, rogue thing to suggest. But I promise you that will make sense later on. So he's wearing tiger pelt as his trousers, and I can't remember if I pointed it out. Maybe I should have pointed it out before. But the old lady in the potion shop has a pet tiger cub on her desk that she's stroking. I'm sure I did mention it before. What is Epona doing? So of course a poacher is defined. There's kind of two definitions largely for poacher. So the first and the most common use of the word is someone who hunts animals. You get kind of big game poachers in Africa who are the people killing elephants for tusks or whatever. That sort of thing. But there's another version, another definition of the word poacher, which is slightly less common, which is just someone who trespasses or steals. So people entering woods that they shouldn't enter and bringing things out of them that should have been left there and taking things from areas of nature. So because of that, those two definitions can fit the two characters who we know owned that saw, the Master Craftsman and his son. So the Master Craftsman could be a poacher because he's wearing a tiger's pelt, and his old lady, who we can assume is his wife, strokes a tiger cub pet. So it's pretty morbid and paints him in a pretty horrific light. But perhaps he's a poacher who killed a tiger, made clothes out of its pelt, and then gave its cub to his wife as a pet. Or the poacher could be the son who gave forest mushrooms to Link, so took something that wasn't his out of the forest. And as the Kokiri girl showed, that's not something that they like happening. She reacts quite angrily to that and says, "Those are forest mushrooms, give them back." So either could be the poacher that's referred to by the saw. But yeah, like you said, we're heading all the way up Death Mountain. But we get a pretty dark storyline that's happened there between this family. So there's the mother in the potion shop, the father currently in Gerudo Valley, and the... Come on, Nevi, what have you got? That cloud... Okay, thank you, Nevi. So they're mother and father and son. But if we assume that the parents are poachers, the son, who we know is not a poacher, in fact he's an animal lover, the only friend he's got in the whole world is Kojiro, a cuckoo. And, if anything, he appears in the Lost Woods, he's clearly very unwell, he's sleeping and he's twitching, until Link brings him Kojiro, which seems to kind of almost restore his faith in humanity, I guess. I'm actually going to head to Goron City first, before I head up Death Mountain. So clearly he's an animal lover, unlike his parents, which could give us a reason that he thinks his mother and father are disgusting, because they're clearly involved in this poaching business, and he doesn't agree with that. And then the fact that he headed into the Lost Woods, there's kind of one of two possibilities again. So the first is that he travelled there specifically to gather ingredients for his mum, the old lady in the potion shop, to make medicine with, which we know was one of her wishes, but clearly she was too old and too frail to do that. Or the second option, which is the far darker choice out of the two, which is that he was so depressed, so completely disenfranchised with life and his family who disgust him, that he travelled to the Lost Woods, which is a place that, if you go to the Lost Woods, you don't come out. People who become lost in the Lost Woods, they don't return. They become Stalfos. So there's a much darker reading of this storyline as well. And that ties back into what the Cuckoo Lady said, which is, my brother must have been very lonely. Which, suggests that she might have understood where the brother went and why he went there. Which is really quite morbid, and it's very easy to kind of miss because it's a very strange quest that you kind of fly through. But yeah, there's a lot of dark stuff happening there. But anyway, I just wanted to head to Goron City because I wanted to first visit this guy who is a big Goron, but he's not Big Goron. So if you remember when we visited this guy last, he said he's working on something and it'll take 5 or 6 years to complete. And now, 7 years later, I just completed a small weapon. How about it? How about buying this knife for 200 rupees? I actually don't know if we've got 200 rupees. We don't. I do want to do that. Let me just... what's a quick way to get rupees? Tell you what, I'm going to throw a cut here so you don't have to watch me grind rupees, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Don't ask why I've got bomb shoes out. That was a whole thing. It does not matter, but I'm back with 200 rupees for Biggoron. And we get the Giant's Knife. Hold it with both hands and use B to attack. It's so long you can't use it with a shield. And we do, we get the Giant's Knife, which is awesome. So there you go. That's the Biggoron's sword quest complete. And we've got one of the greatest weapons in Ocarina of Time. Such an... Yeah, so the Giant's Knife is not amazing. It's pretty cool, for like 5 seconds, but it breaks. It's a Breath of the Wild weapon trapped in Ocarina of Time. It breaks in like 4 hits. So, despite him spending the best part of a decade working on it, his craftsmanship is not as good as his brother's. I think the relationship between Biggoron and Biggoron is another thing that a Gossip Stone talks about. Again, that's something I'll talk about in the Gossip Stone episode. But yeah, he's an okay smith because he does his thing, and he can make a cool big sword, but it's not a great weapon. Even though Biggoron's sword does break, not when Link has it. So when we get that at the end of the quest, it'll be our kind of go-to weapon for the rest of the journey, except for the very, very end when we'll need the Master Sword. Except for that, we'll be using Biggoron's sword and it won't break in Link's hand, but we know it does break because the Master Craftsman used it and it did break there. So it's not completely invincible. I don't like this place much at all. Let's not get... Okay, wow, there you go. Might have been the first time I've ever done that and not got wrecked by that. Let's bring this out now. So was there one? There might have been one that was out of our reach last time. What's happening? Am I not targeting? There you go. Let's, scale Death Mountain. If I can actually get a shot off. Was that a... That absolutely terrified me. I didn't know if my... Okay. What is going on? I didn't know if my eyes were playing tricks. I've still got the giant's knife on, that's why. I didn't know if my eyes were playing tricks on me. I thought I saw like a giant spider jumping off Death Mountain. And it was a Tektite that leapt off above me. That was pretty scary. There you go. Be gone. There's only one, what's it called? Skull Vulture up here, so we can avoid that. I'm actually going to drop down here. Can I reach that? I can. Come on. There you go. Yeah, that was terrifying. I'm not really like an arachnophobe, particularly. Like, if there are spiders in my house, I'm fine picking them up in a cup and, taking them outside. But I don't know. In games, they freak me out more than they do in real life. I suppose in games they're a lot bigger than they are in real life. But now we're on Big Mountain. We're on Death Mountain. We can meet the biggest Goron of all, who is truly gigantic. Biggoron. And he's clearly a little bit irritated. There's something wrong. My brother opened a new store. It's Medigoron's Blade Store. However, I am better at making blades. Hylian carpenters praise me for my skills. I'm not lying. Okay. Well, if we show him the broken blade... That broken knife is surely my work. I really want to repair it, but because of yesterday's eruption, my eyes are irritated. There are fine eye drops in Zora's domain. You will find them if you go to see King Zora. Please go get the eye drops. And we get a prescription, which is amazing. The little pharmacy medical symbol on the top. We need to take this to King Zora. So this is why we needed the blue fire, because, King Zora, we'll see in a second, is not in a particularly good way. You only take a little bit of damage from doing that. There's like a max damage you can take from jumping. And there's no Kapora Gabora. Always been a tongue twister. For me. In the adult timeline, so we have to go manually down Death Mountain. But yeah, that's the first appearance of Biggoron in the series, which is cool. He's an awesome character. I want to... Now that is a question. I was going to say, is this the biggest Biggoron we've ever seen? Because obviously he reappears in Majora's Mask, and I assume he's the same size, because it'll be the same model. He's also in Phantom Hourglass, where he's very small compared to that. He's more of a Medigoron size. And then Minish Cap, he's huge, because he kind of looms over Mount Krenel in that and gives you the Mirror Shield. Maybe he's, one of the biggest Biggorons we've seen. But he's, very cool, and it's never really explained why he's just a gigantic Goron. I don't know. I've seen various theories that kind of assumed that maybe Gorons never stop growing, kind of like indeterminate growth, which is the thing some animals in our world have, like Greenland sharks or tortoises or turtles or axolotls, which could explain why you get these huge variants of Gorons. Maybe they're just some of the oldest of their kind. Which is, that's a possibility. But either way, what we do know is he's very good at making blades. But an eruption Come on, Epona. Has meant that he can't do it at the moment. He can't repair it. Apparently he gives very good aftercare, I guess, on his products, because he will fix anything that breaks for free. But yeah, only when he can actually see to do it. I'm just gonna drop a spin attack. Oh, okay, I didn't get any hearts for that, but it's not the end of the world. I was gonna say I could buy. Well, I was gonna say I could buy more beans, but I can't for 2 reasons. Firstly, this is obviously the adult timeline, so there's no bean seller. And second, I lost all my rupees. But that's a pretty cool one, that bean. That'll take us all the way up Zora's River. But I've just hopped off here because we can access this area that otherwise we couldn't reach. I can't remember which hole you actually need to go down. Is it this one? No, that is the fairy fountain. Well, actually, I was looking to heal up, so there you go. This might be the first time I've ever used a fairy fountain in Ocarina of Time to heal, rather than just smashing pots or whatever. Although, actually, that's a lie. Probably the forest temple one I've used before, because that's quite easy to get to. But yeah, this area of Zora's River, we couldn't access as Child Link, even with a cuckoo. This is too far out of reach. You do need the bean plant to get up here, which gives us access to another Skulltula. And this hole, I believe, is actually useful. Is this the one? Yeah, it's got a little chest here. Let me just double check. Oh, red rupee. I could have sworn there's actually something useful around here. There's a gossip stone, so we'll be coming back here later. Yeah, maybe nothing for now, then. I know there's another Skulltula further up the river that we'll definitely want to head to. I could go down and beam my way up, but it kind of stops off. Well, okay, right, I thought it was in the deep water. I thought I had no choice then. It stops off kind of just up here anyway, so there's not much point in going back down to get it. But this will actually be our first time visiting Zora's domain in the adult era as well, so we'll see what has befallen it. I deliberately didn't speak to any of the Gorons except Medigorron in Goron City, and that's because I wanted to keep that kind of secret. There it is. I knew there's a Skulltula around here. Don't turn today. Where are you? Or do you need the long shot? No, you don't. Again, perpetually confused on whether you need the long shot or not. Maybe you do for the token, though? I mean, it's not the end of the world if we do need to come back, but I'd like to grab it now. Do I have any more wiggle room with where I am? Maybe if I walk further down here? Come on. That does seem pretty high. Maybe I do need the long shot. If I don't, it's going to be very frustrating for you viewers watching. If you know that I can get it with this hook shot. Come on. Oh, there we go. Nice. All right. That did feel like a kind of long shot situation, but maybe I don't know. I'm sure I've gotten it before without the long shot. But either way, we've headed back up Zora's River, and just like as Child Link, we'll play Zelda's Lullaby to open the, what's it called? The Sleepless Waterfall, which, as we learned, as the king slumbers, so too do these falls. Play Zelda's lullaby to calm the waterfall. So, let's see what's happened to Zora's domain, the source of all Hyrule's water, in this dark future. It's frozen over. Very similar to what happens to it in Twilight Princess, although that's even more morbid, I think, where you see all the kind of souls of the Zora trapped beneath the ice. In this game, it's frozen and it's just kind of eerily empty. You can see even the falls that we jumped down to play the rupee diving game have iced over completely. Same underwater here is the tunnel to Lake Hylia. When we eventually do head to Lake Hylia, I don't think I showed it off there. You see the shop is frozen over, and this ice is red, which is notable, and we'll see in a second. King Zora is also encased in red ice, which is kind of very dense, very cold ice that you need blue fire to melt. Yeah, if we went to Lake Hylia, we'd see that even from that end, you can see the frozen tunnel. Even though Lake Hylia isn't frozen, the tunnel is. So yeah, it's quite a terrible fate. And I don't think that does anything. Speak yeah, you can't do anything. But if we go near him and we empty out our bottle of blue fire, which again I could have got from Ice Cavern just nearby for free and not spent 300 rupees, but I do want to kind of wait to do that. I want to kind of do all of the dungeons and their areas kind of together, which is also why I didn't speak to anyone in Death Mountain, because I kind of want to have that all done together. But now let's speak to King Zora. Oh, I've come back to life. Was it you who saved me? Don't be nervous. It looks like you have a hard time breathing underwater. As an expression of my gratitude, I grant you this tunic. With it, you won't choke underwater. And he gives us the Zora tunic, which is an adult-sized diving suit. Wear it and you won't drown underwater. But I forgot, yeah, we didn't want to actually speak to him, although, you know, worked out for the best. We wanted to show him this. Ooh, this is, well, eye drops. You might say we have them, you might say we don't. We do have the ingredients. If you take the ingredients to the doctor at the lake laboratory, he can make the drops for you. But you need to deliver them fresh. Can you make it before they spoil? And we get the eyeball frog. Be quick and deliver it to Lake Hylia while it's cold. So yeah, the ingredients are a living creature, a live frog who's apparently kept cold, or maybe he's a dead frog and he's kind of like on ice or something. I don't know. But yeah, we need to rush him to Lake Hylia while it's cold, and then the lake scientist can make medicine out of him. So there's a really kind of fascinating interview. I can't remember which developer it was. Someone who worked on Ocarina of Time, talking about the eyeball frog and the way it's kind of, I don't know, you feel a little bit bad for this frog who's used, you know, to make medicine. And he says, yeah, I felt bad too about the use of the eyeball frog, but there are many animals that we use for useful purposes, and apparently, according to him, in Hyrule every year they hold a special ceremony to honour the animals who have given their lives to aid Hylians, while I'm getting wrecked by Octoroks. Which is cool, you know, a little extra, little bit of lore tidbit. Again, that's, you know, doesn't appear in the game, so you don't have to consider that as canon if you don't want to. But you know, I quite like it. Any little extra details about these people and how they live, I will obviously eat up. I love that stuff. So yeah, we got. This is a little bit of a more difficult time sequence. So yeah, without Epona, would have been absolutely smoked, because you know it'd probably take this time just to get over to Lake Hylia on foot, let alone get into the lake scientist's house. But with Epona, it should be pretty much okay. I'm going to try and not mistime this fence. I always find this one a little bit finicky. There we go. Okay. You see, the fence there comes across the path, and I think there's like previous versions of Ocarina of Time, like early development versions, that show the fences were lined up differently to the paths. So a lot of people assume, or at least the people on the cutting room floor, assumed that it was kind of a mistake, and you know, then they just kind of gave up. Not gave up, but they just didn't. I messed that up. Need my carrots back. They didn't kind of bother to fix it, but it's, you know, it's fine. Come on, there we go. Yeah, you need to be carroted up to jump over a fence. We've only got a minute left, but I think we'll make it, because luckily he lives quite close to the shore of Lake Hylia, and here he is. Oh yeah, forgot if you run through long grass with a pony, you cut it, which is great. Cool. Let's head in and show the lake scientist. Actually, let's talk to him first. Hello there, son. I'm researching the... So I think we've been through this dialogue before. The process of making medicine by mixing Lake Hylia's water with unusual compounds. Perhaps you've met that old lady from the potion shop. She's like a student of mine. So that's another little interesting connection between the characters in this quest. The potion shop lady and the lake scientist have previously worked together. I don't think we did it in a previous episode, but if you try and enter her potion shop as Child Link, it says closed, out for field study. So you can assume during that time the lake scientist and her were kind of working together, perhaps, you know, training her, which is cool. So he not only works with the potion shop lady, but also her daughter, which the Gossip Stone reveals the cuckoo lady was also working with this shady, mad lake scientist, which is cool. But yeah, let's offer up the eyeball frog. Oh, wow! I haven't seen an eyeball frog like this since Zora's domain froze over. These eyeballs are so delicious. Tonight I will cook fried eyeballs for the first time in a long time. Ahoy, hoy, 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 hoy. Such great stuff. Please say thank you to King Zora. Eh? What? These are for making Biggoron's eye drops? Oh, how disappointing. You should have said so in the first place. And only a couple of seconds later... Well, maybe it's taken longer than I remember, but there you go. Here it is. This medicine doesn't have any preservatives in it, so it won't last long at this temperature. Run as fast as you can to Death Mountain. You're young, you can do it. And here we get... You traded the eyeball frogs for the world's finest eye drops. Hurry, take them to Biggoron before they go bad. And you see, the game's serious about this because it gives us 4 minutes to do this. So this is definitely the most difficult one. Again, and I think I mentioned it, that I didn't plant a particular magic bean, the one at the entrance to Dodongo's cavern, which maybe I should have done, because that is a hugely helpful shortcut for this part of the quest. But still, we should be fine. I've done it before without that shortcut. Using Epona, cuts off so much time in Hyrule Field, and then, it is pretty generous still, 4 minutes, because Ocarina of Time, even though this is kind of the furthest points you could travel between, or close enough, it's still a relatively small world, and 4 minutes is a long time to travel across it. But yeah, kind of cool little line of dialogue there, where apparently eyeball frogs are some sort of delicacy, and fried eyeballs. I mean, he does look like the kind of guy who'd eat fried eyeballs. He's a pretty sinister fellow. And yeah, he's made the world's finest eye drops, which is cool. Again, I'm not sure if this is a Gossip Stone thing. Sorry for saying that so many times this episode. But there's definitely a line of dialogue somewhere that reveals that Biggoron and King Zora are old friends, which is, another cool connection. As with the lake scientist and his connections to the various people of Kakariko. I just love the little things where you learn how these people know each other. It just makes them feel so much more real than just video game people who you have to visit for a quest and their only purpose is to, advance Link's quest and give him items. No, there's, in Ocarina of Time, for its time, the characters are so detailed, and there's so much kind of connections between them, which is obviously an idea that they took from this game and absolutely perfected in the next game in the series, in Majora's Mask, which although I'm always divided on what Zelda games, how they rank for me, and I still think the Wind Waker's probably, let's not get run over, still probably my favourite. But Majora's Mask is one that every time I play it, I kind of have this Frank from Always Sunny moment, even though, I always go in knowing this is just going to be so great, I love this game, but every time I get to the end, I'm like, that was even better than I remember it being, because, all the characters in that, or at least so many of the characters in that, are so interconnected, and they feel more real than characters in, many games that come out today, which, 26 years later, after that, the release of that game, and that, they created that in a year. It's so great. Okay, now this is an area where I could mess up on the timing, so I want to quickly get rid of these Skulltulas while Navi's screaming at me, but we don't have time. Sorry, Navi. There's the flying tech type. You're jump scared from that. Come on, get that. I'm not actually worried now. We've got a minute and a bit. Yeah, we got that. We're all good. But yeah, Majora's Mask, absolutely fantastic. But let's head up here and give these to Biggoron, which is pretty much the final step of this pretty huge quest. So here he goes, he wakes up again. I love how his eyes are properly, closed from the eruption. I've been waiting for you with tears in my eyes. Please say hello to King Zora. Well, there you go, that's a little nod to them being friends, but I forgot I need to offer it. Really? You brought the eye drops? I'm so relieved. I'm going to use them right now. The sound effect is so brilliant. It's this droplet sound that, because he's so huge, is echoing around all of Death Mountain. Wow! This is stimulating. It's working great. Now I can get back to my blade business. My work is not very consistent, so I'll give this to you so you won't forget. After a few days, please return. Wait, just wait patiently. and we get the claim check for it. You can't wait for the sword to be completed. Right, what is Navi? That cloud of... Okay, thank you. That's like the 5th time you've shouted that at me. But yeah, he said this will take a few days. So, unless I'm misremembering, I'm pretty sure it's 3 days and 3 nights you have to wait. Which, yeah, a little bit tedious just because we have to constantly play the Sun Song. There you go. You just have to do this over and over. So I'm going to play this 6 times and speak to him and see if it's ready then. I think it is 3 days and 3 nights. Let's wait for it. Yeah, there you go. But it's far less annoying than the same mechanic in the Minish Cap, where the Mirror Shield is a post-game item that you get from Biggoron. And you have to wait for it in that game. And I don't think... Obviously, there's no day and night cycle in that. I think it's just like real world 20 minutes or something like that. So you do have to kind of go away and do something else or whatever, which I think is kind of the suggestion in this game. So it gives you a claim check. And I think that, you know, they want you to go and do another dungeon or do a little bit more of the quest or whatever, explore the world. But, you know, when they give you a magical time-traveling ocarina, why not just stand here, play some tunes at the top of the world, and wait for our sick new sword to be ready. Did it? Did that turn to night, or did it not? So that'll be the 6th time, but I don't know if I played one too early, perhaps, and didn't... Okay, let's see if that's enough. Maybe I need to do one more. No, he did. He did. I made this. Trade for claim check. Oh yeah, of course. That's every time. That sword is my finest work. And we get the Biggoron sword. This blade was forged by a master smith and won't break. And we can go to our gear tab. And the broken giant's knife is gone. And just so cool. Okay, thank you. The Biggoron sword is here. Which, awesome. You know, one of my favourite weapons in Zelda. Just so cool. So this does twice the damage of the Master Sword, has longer reach. The only disadvantage is you can't block. So if we Z-target, which would normally hold out a shield, we're not blocking. So you've got to kind of be a little bit more evasive when using this. But it's still better, I find, because you can kill enemies twice as quick. And, you know, the best defense is offense. So, with Biggoron's sword in hand, we can begin on the next section of the game, which is, as luck would have it, Death Mountain and the Fire Temple. So, if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already for more of these episodes, and next time we'll head to Goron City to see what plight is affecting them. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.